In cultures around the world, one theme appears again and again. Humanity begins with clay and comes alive through breath. But why clay? And why breath? Today, we're breaking down the symbolism, the origins, and the meaning behind this ancient creation story. Welcome to the golden ancient tales, where legends breathe, myths open their eyes, and forgotten worlds rise again in cinematic storytelling. If you love deep, relaxing narration, mythology, and stories that take you into the dreamlands of ancient civilizations, kindly subscribe, like this video, and share your thought in the comments. It truly helps this channel grow. Now, settle into a calm, comfortable space. Let your mind drift. Let the story begin. Before the world knew names, before mountains pushed their backs toward the sky, before rivers learned how to sing, there was only silence. Not the harsh silence of emptiness, but the warm, waiting silence of possibility. A hush so deep that even time held its breath, listening for what might come next. In this quiet cradle, the gods gathered. They met at the edge of the first waters, a vast shining ocean that stretched into an endless horizon. Its surface reflected the glow of newborn stars, and its depths shimmered with secrets older than creation itself. This ocean was not water as we know it. It was memory, the memory of all things that could ever exist. And beside this sacred water lay the clay. Thick, dark, and rich, the clay pulsed softly, as though it remembered a heartbeat. It was said among the gods that this clay was pulled from the bed of the first waters, meaning it carried both earth and memory within it. It was not just soil. It was potential. The god who saw this potential most clearly was Aru, the shaper. Aru was older than mountain bones, yet young in spirit. His hands could sculpt storms and cradle valleys. When he looked at the clay, he did not see mud. He saw forms. Forms yearned to rise, to stand, to move. Aru dipped his hand into the clay, slowly, reverently. It clung to him, as though recognizing an ancient friend. He rolled it between his palms. He pressed it gently. He shaped it like a potter, learning the memories of the soil. The other gods approached, their celestial footsteps stirring ripples across the waters. Among them was Naya, the keeper of breath. Her presence felt like dawn, warm, renewing, lifting shadows from the air. Her breath carried winds, songs, and destinies. "Aru," she said softly, "what do you seek to make?" Aru lifted the clay toward the faint starlight. "Something that has not yet walked the world," he answered. "A being that remembers the deep and yet reaches for the sky." The gods murmured among themselves. "Why clay?" one asked. Aru smiled. "Because clay is humble. It bends. It learns. It remembers the touch of every hand that shapes it. And yet it longs to become more." He placed the clay upon a flat stone beside the waters. With each touch he gave it form, a chest rising gently like a small hill, limbs like young branches, a face shaped with care. But it was still only clay, still silent and unmoving. Aru paused, studying his creation. It was delicate, but not weak. It was simple, but not empty. It had the quiet dignity of all things born from the earth. But it did not yet live. Naya stepped forward. Her eyes glimmered with understanding. "You wanted to move," she whispered. "You wanted to see." Aru nodded. Then it must breathe. She approached the clay figure. The air around her stirred, soft and warm. Even the stars above leaned closer, sensing what was about to unfold. She knelt, bringing her lips near the clay's still chest. "Breath," she whispered, "is the boundary between silence and song, between stillness and becoming, between what is earth and what can rise above it." Then she exhaled. It was not a forceful breath, not a storm or a whirlwind. It was gentle, like the first breeze that crosses a newborn morning. But the breath shimmered with divine essence, carrying warmth, sound, memory, and hope. The clay drank it in. Its chest rose once, twice. The clay softened, warmed, then transformed. Color began to appear where there had been none. Fingers flexed. Eyes fluttered beneath newly formed lids. Then the figure opened its eyes. They were dark at first, reflecting the deep from which it had come. But slowly, they filled with light, mirroring the stars, the waters, and the gods gathered around. The first human had awakened. It drew in a slow breath of its own, a breath that carried wonder, confusion, and something else, a faint spark of longing, as though it sensed a vast world waiting beyond this sacred place. Aru knelt beside the human. "Do you know who you are?" he asked softly. The human blinked, lips parting. No words came, for language had not yet been shaped. But in its eyes, Aru saw recognition, a connection, a gratitude without sound. It touched its chest, then touched the earth beneath it, clay recognizing clay, earth recognizing its origin. Naya placed her hand gently on the human's back. "It breathes because you shaped it," she told Aru, "and it lives because I share my breath. But what it becomes, that is still unwritten." The other gods watched in awe. "What shall this creature be called?" one asked. Aru looked at the human. Fragile, curious, beautiful in its simplicity. He smiled. "It shall be called human," he said, "for it is made of humble earth, yet carries breath divine." As the human stood shakily on new legs, taking its first steps toward the world beyond the first waters, the sky began to shift. Stars brightened. Wind stirred. Something ancient and powerful had awakened, and creation itself leaned forward to witness what humanity would become. The human, shaped from clay and filled with breath, walked into a world waiting to be discovered. And the story had only just begun. The first human walked with unsteady steps, as though learning the rhythm of the world with each movement. The ground beneath its feet was warm, alive with the pulse of creation. Colors shimmered everywhere. Greens that glowed like emerald dawns, blues deeper than dreams, golds that drifted from the heavens like dust from ancient stars. Every part of this new world felt like a gift, waiting to be unwrapped. Aru and Naya followed at a distance, watching their creation explore. They did not lead. They did not guide its feet. They only observed, curious about what this being, shaped from earth yet filled with breath divine, might choose to do first. The human stopped beside a pool of still water. Kneeling, it leaned forward and saw its reflection for the first time. It gasped. The face in the water was familiar yet strange. Its eyes held the darkness of the clay and the spark of the stars. Its skin carried the memory of the earth. Its breath created gentle ripples across the surface. The human touched its cheek, then reached toward the reflection, as if trying to understand why the image moved with it. Finally, it smiled, the first smile ever born in the world. Aru felt something warm stir in his chest. "It knows itself," he whispered. Naya nodded. Self-recognition, the first step of becoming. The human stood and wandered onward, learning through touch, the rough bark of trees, the softness of moss, the cool kiss of the wind. Every sensation was new, and it marveled at each one. It listened to the rustling leaves, the distant roar of waterfalls, the soft heartbeat of the world beneath its feet. Yet as it ventured farther, it felt something tugging, a hollow space inside, like an unanswered question. It turned back toward Aru and Naya, its eyes full of quiet longing. Aru understood. "It feels alone." "Of course," Naya murmured. "Breath gives life, but freedom gives uncertainty." The other gods gather now, beings of light, shadow, storm, and flame. They had been watching from afar, silently debating what to do next. One of them, the brilliant Selenar, keeper of order, stepped forward. His voice was smooth and cold as moonlight. "This creation of yours wanders aimlessly," he said. "It does not know purpose. It should be given rules, structure, boundaries." A rumble of agreement passed through several gods. Then Vurek, the god of wildness and flame, growled, "No! Let it roam free. Let it burn with instinct and desire. Let it shape its own path." "But without guidance," argued Selenar, "it could destroy what we have made. Or elevate it," Vurek retorted. Aru raised a hand. The gods fell silent. "It will need freedom," he said, "but also choice. A being cannot grow if it is trapped, nor can it thrive if it knows nothing of consequence." Naya stepped beside him. "Then, perhaps," she suggested, "we give it a gift." Selenar frowned. "What gift?" "The gift of choice," she said, "to decide its own path, to walk toward what calls to it, or away from what frightens it, to learn, to change, to dream." A murmur rippled through the gods. Selenar narrowed his eyes. Choice brings unpredictability. Aru smiled gently. And unpredictability brings life. The gods debated, their voices rising and falling like thunder across the sky. Meanwhile, the humans stood quietly below them, watching, unable to understand their words but sensing their tension. Finally, a decision was made. Aru descended toward the human. He knelt so their eyes met on equal level, a gesture no god had ever offered anything before. "My creation," Aru said softly. "You are of clay, but not bound to it. You are a breath, but not ruled by it. You carry both earth and sky within you. Today, we grant you the greatest gift we can offer." He extended his hand. Freedom. The human tilted its head, uncertain. Naya approached, placing her hand over Aru's. "Freedom means you may walk where you wish," she explained. "You may choose your actions, your thoughts, your desires. But choice also means consequence. With freedom comes responsibility." The human reached out and placed its own hand atop theirs. At that moment, a soft glow wrapped around it. Not burning, not blinding, but illuminating. The light entered its chest like a second breath, deeper and more profound than the first. The gods watched in silence. "This being," Selenar declared, "must be given guidance, at least a starting point." Vurek grinned. "Or a challenge." The gods whispered and debated again until another idea was formed. Something simple, something symbolic. Aru created a grove, a circle of towering trees with silver leaves that chimed like wind bells. At the center grew a single tree unlike any other. Its bark glowed with pale gold, and its fruit shimmered with shifting colors like trapped dawns. Naya approached it and breathed softly upon its fruit. It glowed brighter. "This," Selenar said, "is the tree of knowing paths. It holds a knowledge of choices, consequences, futures, and possibilities. If eaten, the human will see too much too soon. So it must choose," Aru added, "obedience or curiosity, simplicity or complexity, innocence or awareness." One by one, the gods stepped back. The grove was complete. Aru led the human to the grove's entrance. "Walk, explore, decide," he told it. "You are free." The human stepped forward, its eyes widening at the glowing grove. It felt something resonate within, a pull toward the tree, a whisper of possibility, a sense of destiny. But it also felt fear. A choice had been placed before it, though it did not yet understand it. Aru watched silently. Naya observed with gentle eyes. Selenar stood stiff, expectant. Vurek grinned, eager for chaos. The human approached the glowing tree, then stopped. Its hand trembled slightly. The fruit shimmered, calling softly, promising something beyond understanding. The first choice, not simple, not safe, but profoundly its own. The human reached out, then drew its hand back. It stepped away, not because it understood the rule, but because something within whispered, "Not yet." Aru smiled. "It has chosen caution." Naya nodded. "It listens to its inner voice." Selenar seemed relieved. Vurek was disappointed. The human turned away from the tree and walked into the forest beyond, feeling the vastness of the world opening before it. Choice had been offered. Freedom had been given. And with that, the human stepped into its destiny. A destiny that would echo through ages, shaped by every decision that followed. The human wandered through the newborn world with growing confidence. It learned the shape of the forest, where shadows slept beneath roots, where the wind curled through branches like invisible threads. It discovered the meadows where golden grasses bowed gently as though greeting it. It followed streams that murmured ancient songs, though no words yet existed to translate them. And as the world unfolded, the human unfolded with it. It learned the sound of its own footsteps, the strength of its legs, the softness of its hands. It learned hunger and how sweet the fruits of the land could be. It learned thirst and how rivers offer their coolness freely. It learned warmth beneath the sun and quiet peace beneath the stars. Yet in the midst of this beauty, a quiet ache began to grow. At first, it was a small emptiness, faint like a missing echo. But the more the human explored, the stronger it became. Some nights it sat beside the river, watching its reflection flicker among the waves. The face staring back seemed incomplete, whole yet lonely, alive yet searching. One evening, while the sky blossomed in soft purples and fading gold, the human looked toward the heavens and pressed its hand to its chest. A slow, uncertain sound escaped its lips, the first sigh ever released into the world. Aru, watching from afar, felt the sound vibrate through him. Naya, sensing the human's heart, closed her eyes in sadness. "It is learning solitude," she whispered. "It is suffering," Aru murmured. "But why? We gave it freedom, a world wonder." Naya placed a gentle hand on his arm. "A world is beautiful, but beauty means little when seen alone." The other gods gathered once more, drawn by the human's quiet sorrow. Selenar, keeper of order, studied the human from afar. "Its loneliness is dangerous," he said. "Sorrow leads to unpredictability." Vurek chuckled. "Or greatness." The goddess Lyora, weaver of emotion, stepped forward, her presence shimmering with colors that shifted like feelings themselves. "Loneliness," she said, "is the first shadow cast by awareness. It reveals what is missing." "And what is missing?" Aru asked. Lyora smiled sadly. "Reflection." She pointed toward the lake where the human sat today. "It watches its reflection because it is the only thing that mirrors it. But a reflection cannot touch back, cannot speak, cannot laugh or weep in return." The human dipped its fingers into the water. The reflection rippled and vanished. The ache in its chest deepened. Aru's heart tightened. "We must help it," he said. Selenar raised a hand. "Careful. If you intervene too much, its freedom becomes illusion." Aru stared at the human. "Freedom should not mean isolation." Naya nodded. "Nor should breath mean silence." Then came a voice like distant thunder softened by compassion. Elyon, the god of wisdom, oldest among them. He stepped forward, his long silver robe trailing behind him like mist. "Creation," Elyon said, "is not complete until it multiplies. One being alone is a spark, but sparks are meant to join others to create flame." Elyon looked at Aru. "You shaped clay once. You must shape it again." Aru hesitated. "Another human?" "Yes," Elyon said, "but not identical. Not a perfect copy. Differences create harmony. Diversity creates strength. Let this second being complement the first, as shadow complements light, as river complements shore." Naya stepped beside Aru, her eyes warm. "And when you shape it, I will breathe into it, as I did with the first." The decision was made. The gods drifted back to the first waters, where the original clay still pulsed softly with the memory of creation. This time, Aru approached the clay with deeper understanding and deeper emotion. He kneaded it gently, as if calming a restless child. He shaped the curves with tenderness, as though crafting a companion for his own heart. This being took a different form, subtle where the first was strong, curved where the other was straight. Its face held a softer symmetry. Its hands were slender, its posture graceful like a newly formed melody. Aru stepped back, examining his work. Naya approached, breath shimmering like moonlit mist. "Shall I?" she asked. Aru nodded. Naya leaned forward and exhaled. The breath flowed into the clay's chest, swirling inside like wind learning its first dance. Warmth spread through the form. The clay flushed with color. Fingers twitched. Eyelids trembled. The second human opened its eyes. Its gaze was gentle yet curious, like dawn searching for morning. Aru felt emotion swell in him. "Welcome," he whispered. Naya smiled softly. "Let's bring them together." Meanwhile, the first human sat beside the river, hugging its knees, feeling the ache of isolation like twilight pressed against its chest. It gazed at the stars, wondering why they seemed so far away. Suddenly it sensed movement. It turned. There, emerging from the forest, was a figure unlike anything it had seen. The second human stepped into the starlight, eyes shimmering with curiosity and warmth. Their gazes met, and something ancient and instinctive stirred in both. Recognition, not of identity, but of connection. The first human stood, hesitant. The second human tilted its head, offering a soft smile. the second smile ever born in the world. They approached each other slowly, like two dawns learning how to rise together. When they finally reached one another, their hands touched. Warmth flowed between them, startling, comforting, profound. Their breaths mingled. Their hearts beat in gentle echo. Above them, Aru exhaled in relief. "It understands now," Naira whispered. "Understands what?" Vurek asked. "Belonging," Lyora answered. "To be seen, to be mirrored, to be known not through reflection but through another soul." The two humans sat beside the river, facing each other. They touched each other's faces, tracing the contours with wonder. Their laughter rose softly, the first laughter in existence, a sound so pure and bright that even the stars flickered with joy. The ache within the first human evaporated like morning mist. The second human felt completeness grow inside them, the sense of being part of something larger. Aru stepped back. "Our creation is becoming whole," he said. Elyon nodded. "Two beings will learn cooperation, partnership, compassion. Through each other, they will learn themselves." Selenar crossed his arms but did not protest. Even he could not deny the harmony beginning to bloom. Night deepened around the humans. They fell asleep beneath the stars, their breaths gentle, their hands still entwined. Aru whispered, "This will change the world." Naira replied, "Already has." For in that moment, simple, quiet, and tender, humanity discovered its second truth. Clay shapes bodies, but companionship shapes souls. The world waited, listening to the soft rhythm of two hearts beating where once there had been only one. And destiny, vast and patient, began to turn. Morning rose gently over the newborn world, its first light washing across hills, valleys, and rivers with the softness of golden breath. Dew glimmered on every blade of grass like tiny fallen stars. The sky unfurled in slow waves of pink and lavender, as though the heavens were stretching after a long night's dream. Nestled beneath a grove of silver-leaved trees, the two humans stirred. The first opened its eyes to find warmth against its shoulder, the second human asleep beside it, their hands still loosely clasped. Something peaceful echoed within the first human's chest, a quiet understanding that the loneliness from the days before would never again be as sharp, never again so heavy. A new presence had entered the world, and with it, a new kind of completeness. The second human awakened moments later, blinking sleep from its eyes. When their gazes met, smiles rose instinctively on both their faces, gentle and soft as early dawn. They touched foreheads, a natural gesture that neither had been taught but somehow felt right, like remembering something they had never learned. High above them, the gods watched. Aru smiled with quiet pride. They see connection already. Naira nodded. Breath recognizes breath. Life recognizes itself. Elyon, the old god of wisdom, rested his staff on the earth. Now they must learn more, not simply how to exist, but how to live. Selenar stood rigidly beside him. Living requires knowledge. Knowledge requires rules. And discovery, Vurek the Wild added with a grin. Let them make mistakes. That is how fire learns its shape. The humans rose and began wandering through the grove. The world around them pulsed with potential. Fruits glistening on branches, flowers opening shyly, streams singing with crystalline clarity. The two humans discovered everything with the wonder of children, but with the emerging awareness of something greater. They traced their fingers across bark, listening to the deep hum of the trees. They splashed their hands in the chilly streams, laughing at the shimmering ripples. They tasted berries, some sweet like sunlight, others tart like unripe dreams. Every sensation became a memory, and every memory stitched itself into the tapestry of their shared experience. But now the gods agreed it was time to guide them. Aru descended first. The humans paused mid-step when he appeared, not startled, but awed. They recognized him, not through memory, but through the same instinct that lets rivers recognize the pull of the sea. Aru extended his hand toward them, his voice gentle. "Come." They approached, standing before him like students before a teacher. He led them to foot a great hill that overlooked miles of new landscape, forests, rivers, wide plains, all shimmering beneath the sun. "Look," Aru told them softly. "This is your world." It will feed you, shelter you, and speak to you in ways you must learn to understand. The first human gazed out with wide eyes. The second gently grasped their hand. Aru continued, "The earth remembers every touch. Treat it with care, and it will nurture you. Wound it thoughtlessly, and it will grieve." He knelt, scooping a handful of soil. The humans crouched beside him. "This earth," Aru said, letting the soil fall through his fingers, "is the same clay for which you were shaped. Respect it, and you respect yourselves." The humans touched the soil, feeling a deep familiarity, a subtle recognition. They nodded, understanding more through feeling than language. Next came Naya. She moved like a soft wind, her presence stirring the leaves in delicate spirals. She drew close to the humans and touched their chests gently. "Feel this," she whispered. The humans inhaled. Air flowed into them, warm, sweet, alive. They placed their hands to their chests, feeling the steady thrum beneath their ribs. "This breath," Naya said, "is more than life. It is connection. Every creature breathes the same air. Guard it. Honor it. Let your words be as gentle as breath, not weapons made of wind." She guided them to the river's edge. The water shimmered like liquid glass. "Water reflects truth," Naya said. "Let your hearts be like water, clear, flowing, and willing to change shape without breaking." The second human touched the water's surface. The reflection rippled, becoming two shifting figures. Their eyes glowed with understanding. The lessons continued. Lyora, weaver of emotion, approached next. Colors followed her like living ribbons. Blues of calm, reds of desire, yellows of joy, greens of wonder. She gestured for the humans to sit. "Inside you," she said softly, "flow rivers you cannot see." She touched the first human's chest. A warm flush spread beneath the skin, like sunlight blossoming. "This is joy." She touched the second human's temple, and a gentle shiver followed. "This is curiosity." She guided their hands to each other. "Together, you will feel deeper. Love, fear, hope, longing. These are not weaknesses. They are tools, guiding stars, windows for understanding yourselves and each other." The humans leaned into each other, feeling the truth in her words. Then came Vurek, fire dancing in his eyes. He summoned a spark between his fingers, a tiny flame that flickered like a trembling newborn creature. "Fire," Vurek said, "is creation and destruction." He placed the flame on the ground. It spread into grass, burning it quickly. Then he snapped his fingers, and the flame became a bright flower blooming out of the charred earth. "It will keep you warm. It will protect you, but if used without restraint." He gestured toward the blackened grass. "It becomes a devourer." The humans watched with awe and caution. Finally, Elyon, oldest and wisest, stepped forward. He carried with him no tools, no sparks, no swirling colors. Only a staff and his presence, tranquil as deep water. "When you look at the world," Elyon said, "do not only see what is, see what might be." He led them up the hill, placing the staff in the earth. A vision bloomed before them, not magic, but possibility. They saw themselves building shelter, walking through seasons, caring for offspring not yet formed. They saw storms, dangers, lessons, and triumphs. They saw a future waiting for their choices. "Wisdom," Elyon said, "is not knowing the path, but seeing the many paths and choosing with purpose." The humans bowed their heads in reverence. When the gods stepped back, the lesson settled in the humans' hearts like seeds waiting for rain. Aru whispered, "They are ready." Naya added, "Now they must live." The humans descended the hill, hand in hand, their eyes full of new understanding. The world awaited them, and the future, vast and unwritten, stretched out like an open scroll before their feet. The world matured quickly beneath the footsteps of the two humans. Days unfolded like petals, each one revealing new wonders. Nights stretched like deep velvet, dotted with stars whispering ancient secrets. The humans explored forests dense with life, plains that swayed like oceans of grass, and rivers that wound like silver veins across the land. But as they wandered deeper into the world, the lessons of the gods began to take shape in ways neither had expected. For with breath came discovery. With discovery came curiosity. And with curiosity came the first encounter with fear. It began one late afternoon. The sky glowed with the amber of setting sun, and the air shimmered lightly with warmth. The humans had followed a trail of bright flowers into a part of the forest they had never explored. Leaves hung low from thick branches, heavy with scents both sweet and strange. Birds darted to the canopy, releasing calls that echoed like flutes. The first human touched the tree's twisting roots, marveling the way they coiled like ancient serpents. The second picked a petal that glimmered like silver fire. It was peaceful, too peaceful. Something felt different, heavier, older. As they walked further, shadows stretched between the trees, longer and darker than usual. The forest seemed to inhale and hold its breath. Even the birds quieted. The humans paused. The stillness pricked their skin. They looked at each other, uncertain. Then came a sound, low, hollow, like a distant growl vibrating through the earth itself. The first human froze. The second stepped closer, instinctively reaching for their hand. Another growl, closer this time. Vurek, the god of wildness, watched from afar. A faint grin curled on his lips. Ah! The first meeting with fear. Let us see how they respond. Naira shot him a glare. Do not frighten them beyond hope. I do nothing, Vurek said. The world must shape them as much as we do. Aru appeared beside them, worry etched on his face. Perhaps they are not ready. Elian, calm and steady as always, shook his head. Fear is necessary. Life becomes precious only when one learns what can be lost. Back in the forest, the humans heard another sound. Branches snapping, leaves rustling violently. Something was approaching. Their hearts thudded like pounding drums. Breath came fast, sharp. Their eyes widened, scanning the shadows. Then, from the underbrush, two glowing eyes appeared. Amber, piercing, predatory. A massive creature emerged, its fur thick and dark, muscles rippling beneath. It was neither lion nor wolf, but something ancient, primal, and built for survival. Its teeth flashed white as bone. Its growl shook loose bits of bark from the trees. The first human stumbled backward. The second clutched their arm, trembling. The beast stepped forward. The humans had never known harm. They had never seen death. But something deep inside, some instinct buried in their clay and divine breath, screamed, "Run." The first human grabbed the second's wrist, and together they sprinted. Leaves whipped against their faces. Roots clawed at their ankles. Branches cracked beneath their feet. Their hearts pounded like thunder. Behind them, the creature crashed through the forest, relentless. The gods watched. Selenar observed with folded arms. Without danger, they would never grow. Aru's jaw tightened. But if they fall, everything we have created falls with them. Naira clasped her hands. They must find strength within themselves. Vurek simply leaned forward, eyes gleaming. The humans burst into a clearing, but it was unfamiliar terrain, and their panic blurred judgment. The forest behind them roared as the creature approached. The first human looked around desperately. The second pointed toward a fallen tree, hollow inside, large enough to hide within. But before they could enter, the beast emerged from the trees, snarling. The humans froze, trapped between instinct and helplessness. Then, the first human remembered a lesson, Vurek's demonstration of fire, his warning. It creates and it destroys. The first human looked around wildly. No sparks, no flint, nothing. But then, lightning flashed across the darkening sky. A storm brewed overhead, clouds swirling with electric fury. The first human raised its hands toward the heavens, desperation fueling instinct. It let out a sound, a cry, half fear, half plea. A sudden bolt of lightning struck a nearby dry tree. It burst into flame. The beast recoiled, startled. The humans rushed toward the burning branch. The second human grabbed one end, the first human the other. Together they lifted it, holding it between themselves and the creature. The crackling flames cast wild shadows across their faces. The beast stepped closer, then halted. The firelight reflected in its eyes, and for the first time, something like uncertainty flickered across its expression. Fire, Light. Danger. The humans shouted, not words, but sounds fueled by raw courage. Their voices rose with the crackling flames, and for the first time, the beast hesitated. It backed up slowly, growling. Then it turned and retreated into the forest. Silence settled. The humans dropped the burning branch, breathing hard. Fear slowly loosened its grip, replaced by relief. Then something unexpected happened. The two humans embraced tightly, not out of instinct, not out of curiosity, but out of gratitude, comfort, and something deeper, the need to hold on to what was precious. The gods watched in awe. They survived, Aru whispered. They learned, Elyon said. Fear has given them wisdom. It has shown them the value of life. Naya wiped a tear of relief, and the strength of unity. Selenar nodded. Together, they are stronger. Alone, they would have fallen. Vurek laughed softly. See? The fire did not destroy them. It woke them. The humans walked out of the forest hand in hand, their breaths still shaking, but their steps steadier. That night, as they sat beneath the stars, the first human placed a hand over their heart and exhaled slowly. The second human mirrored the gesture, and for the first time, they understood that life was not simply a gift. It was a responsibility, a balance of wonder and danger, of clay and breath, of courage and fear. And the world, vast and unpredictable, waited for what they would become next. The sun dipped low across the horizon, painting the world in soft gold as the first humans, Aru and Naya, followed the gentle pull of the divine wind. It was a wind they had come to recognize, a whisper that was not entirely the world. The breath that had awakened them now stirred once more, urging them toward a valley carved between mountains of ancient stone. The air shifted with quiet purpose, carrying scents of earth, water, and something older than both. Aru paused at the edge of the valley and placed his hand upon the soil. The ground is trembling, he whispered. Naya knelt beside him. It's not fear, she said softly. It feels like anticipation. Then the wind gathered. First a breeze and a spiral, then a luminous gust that shimmered like stardust. Within the swirl appeared the one who shaped them, the great artisan of clay and breath. Their voice, when it came, was like the harmony of rivers meeting the sea. Aru, Naya, the Creator spoke. You have walked the world with curiosity, strength, and compassion. Now it is time to understand the deeper meaning of the gift within you. The couple bowed their heads, but the Creator motioned gently for them to rise. Do not bow, they said. You are shaped from the earth, but you stand by the breath of the cosmos. Both are sacred. The wind settled. Silence followed, but it was not empty. It was waiting. Come, said the Creator. Today, you learn the covenant of breath. They followed the glowing figure deeper into the valley. The mountains formed a natural amphitheater, their walls etched with spirals, suns, and ancient symbols. At the center lay a circular stone platform, surrounded by small clay vessels. Aru pointed to them. Are these ours? They are your kin, the Creator answered. Both humans froze. Before you, the divine voice continued, are vessels waiting just as you once waited. The clay remembers every form, every life, every future. But breath, the figure raised their hand, and a warm wind shimmered. Breath chooses. Naya looked at the vessels, overwhelmed. Will they come alive? The Creator nodded. One day, when the world is ready, and when humanity has grown in wisdom. Creation is not a single event. It is an ongoing hymn. Aru stepped forward, fascination drawing him. Then why reveal this to us? The Creator's expression softened. Because humans will shape the future with the same hands I used to shape you. Aru swallowed. We will shape life. You will shape destiny, the Creator corrected. Your actions ripple across generations. The breath within you is not merely the spark of life. It is a responsibility. The Creator moved to the center of the platform. Watch! The clay of the valley floor began to rise, twisting and folding like soft dough. Aru and Naya watched, mesmerized, as it shaped itself into figures. Men, women, children, though incomplete, hollow. They looked like shadows awaiting sunrise. The Creator exhaled. The breath traveled across the valley like a wave of light. As it touched the clay figures, they brightened, glowed, and then dissolved into dust. Naya gasped. Why did they disappear? The Creator turned to her. Because breath must not be wasted. It is not to be given lightly and not without purpose. Aru frowned. Then why show us this? To teach you the balance between creation and caution, the Creator replied. You carry the breath within you, but you do not yet know its strength. The valley fell silent again. The Creator extended a hand toward Aru and Naya. Place your hands upon the earth. They obeyed. A deep hum vibrated beneath their palms, like the heartbeat of the world itself. It pulsed in rhythm with their own breathing. Aru felt as though the earth recognized him. Naya felt tears rising. It feels alive. It is, the Creator said, earth and breath are partners. Clay gives form. Breath gives meaning. But if either is misused, the world falls out of harmony. Aru looked up. And we are meant to keep that harmony? You are meant to try, the Creator said gently. You will succeed at times. You will fail at times. But the covenant binds you to the effort. Naya wiped her eyes. What is the covenant? The Creator placed their hands over Aru's and Naya's. It felt like sunlight, like wind, like home. The covenant of breath is threefold, the Creator said, voice resonating through the valley. First, to honor the earth from which you were shaped. Cherish it. Protect it. Do not take without gratitude, nor destroy without reason. Aru nodded slowly, understanding dawning. Second, to honor the breath that moves within you. Speak truth. Speak kindness. Your words carry the same power that awakened you. Naya exhaled shakily. Words can create. Or destroy, the Creator warned. They continued. Third, you must honor each other. For in your unity, the world finds balance. You are two, but you are also one, rooted in the same earth, breathing the same life. The valley brightened, sunlight spilling like liquid gold. And remember, the Creator added, the breath within you is not mine alone. It is now yours. What you choose to do with it will echo across ages. Aru and Naya exchanged a glance that carried a universe of meaning. The Creator stepped back. Now, they said, I give you the final gift before you begin the next part of your journey. Both humans stood straight, awaiting the blessing. The Creator breathed once more, but this time, the breath split into two streams, one entering Aru, the other entering Naya. Their eyes glowed briefly. Their bodies felt lighter, stronger, more aware. What was that? Aru asked. Awakening, the Creator replied. Now you carry not only life, but purpose. The mountains echoed with the word. Purpose, purpose, purpose. The Creator slowly faded into the gathering dusk. Go, the final whisper said. Live, learn, and shape the world with wisdom. Aru and Naya stood alone in the valley, but they no longer felt alone. They felt connected to the ground beneath them, the wind around them, and every life yet to come. Together, they stepped into the future, hands intertwined, breath steady, hearts awakened. And so began the covenant of humanity. Night settled gently across the newborn world as Aru and Naya left the sacred valley. The stars shimmered above them, bright, young, and pulsing with quiet wisdom, as though they too had witnessed a covenant of breath and approved it. The couple walked hand in hand, their steps steady, their hearts full, their minds awakening to truths they had not known even existed the day before. The wind brushed against their cheeks, playful and reassuring. It seemed to whisper, "You are ready," yet a question lingered in Aru's mind, one he had not found the courage to ask before. Now, under the vast sky, he could keep it silent no longer. "Naya," he said softly, "how we begin?" Naya smiled faintly. "Begin what?" "Everything," Aru replied. "Living, learning, keeping the covenant, shaping the world." Naya stopped walking. She lifted her gaze toward the stars. "Maybe the beginning isn't chosen," she murmured. "Maybe it simply reveals itself." Aru wanted to believe that, but uncertainty tugged at him. What if we make mistakes? Naya laughed gently. "We will, but the Creator didn't ask us to be perfect, only purposeful." The words settled into Aru like seeds finding fertile soil. They resumed walking, moving through a meadow where fireflies danced like sparks from the Creator's own breath. The earth beneath their feet felt softer than before, as though welcoming their steps. For the first time, Aru truly sensed the world as something alive, a partner, not a possession. As they wandered, the meadow shifted into a forest. Trees stretched tall and ancient, their leaves whispering secrets to the night. Naya placed her hand against one trunk, and the bark seemed to pulse faintly. "It knows us," she said. "It remembers." Aru added, "And we must remember it." Naya concluded. The forest opened into a small clearing. At the center stood a pool reflecting the moonlight, still as polished stone. Drawn toward it, Aru knelt by the water's edge. His reflection wavered, but the face staring back was not just the one made of clay. It was the face of someone carrying a gift, a living breath that could heal or harm. Naya knelt beside him. "Look," she whispered. The pool shimmered. Images appeared upon its surface, faint shapes, shifting and incomplete. A village, people, children running, fields tended by many hands, fires lit in celebration, hands building, hands healing, hands comforting. "What is this?" Aru breathed. "The future," Naya answered. He watched silently as the images changed. Harmony turned to conflict, figures arguing, breaking, rebuilding. Then unity returned, different peoples joining hands, creating balance anew. The visions were not commands. They were possibilities. "We shape it," Naya murmured. "All of this." Aru touched the water, and the images dissolved into ripples. "We must choose carefully," he said. "We must choose truthfully," Naya corrected. "With breath, not fear." They stayed by the water for a long time, absorbing the revelations. When they finally rose, the forest seemed brighter, as though it sensed the weight of their understanding. A slow rumble echoed across the sky. Clouds gathered. A gentle rain began to fall. Soft droplets that cooled their skin and woke the world around them. Trees drank deeply, the earth sighed, and the air filled with the scent of renewal. Aru tilted his head upward, letting the rain wash across his face. "It feels like a blessing." "It is," Naya replied. "A reminder that life is renewed again and again." The rain eased. The clouds drifted away. Dawn approached, faint but inevitable, turning the sky from deep indigo to soft lavender. As they stepped out of the forest, the horizon stretched before them, wide, open, untouched. It felt like the very edge of a new age. Aru stopped. "Naya." "Yes." "This world, it's vast." Naya squeezed his hand. "So are we." For a moment, Aru simply breathed. The air tasted different now, richer, as though the Creator's final gift still lingered inside him. The covenant of breath, earth honored, words uplifted, unity cherished, felt etched into his bones. He turned to Naya. "Where do we go first?" She pointed toward a distant ridge where the rising sun was just beginning to glow. "Toward the light," she said. "Always toward the light." They began walking again, and as they did, the earth seemed to come alive around them. Birds stirred in the trees, their morning songs rising. Small animals emerged from burrows and nests, curious but unafraid. Even the wind carried a new rhythm, gentle, guiding, filled with promise. Then it happened. A warm pulse radiated through the air. Aru felt it first, a subtle vibration in his chest. Naya felt it next, a tug of recognition deep within her breath. They stopped and looked around. The Creator's voice echoed, soft as twilight, strong as dawn. "Remember?" The air thickened with meaning. Life is not given once. It is given every day, with every choice, with every breath. The voice faded, but the truth stayed behind, settling gently upon their hearts. Naya exhaled slowly. "We are never truly alone." Aru nodded, "because the breath lives in us. And through us," she added, "it will live in the world." They continued their journey, climbing the rising ridge. The higher they went, the brighter the sunlight became, as though it welcomed them into the future. When they finally reached the top, the sun broke free of the horizon, spilling golden light across the land. Aru and Naya stood tall, silhouetted against the dawn. Below them stretched a world unmarked by footsteps, a world waiting for stories, memories, triumphs, struggles, and generations yet unborn. A world that would one day be filled with cities, cultures, and civilizations. All of it began here, with two beings shaped from clay, awakened by breath and bound by purpose. Naya whispered, "This is only the beginning." Aru smiled, "The rest we will create." With the sun rising behind them, they stepped forward. The world embraced their arrival. And so humanity's great story began. Not with conquest or power, but with breath, with courage, with a covenant, and with two souls ready to shape the dawn of all ages. And in the quiet wind that followed them, one final whisper danced. "Live well, speak truth, walk gently, for you are clay, and you are breath,